Head into the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's already Tuesday. Hi, Natasha. Hi, Juju B. Hi, Salty C. Good to see you. Hey, Sweet Caroline. Sweet Caroline. Dun, dun, dun. Delana, my love. Hi, Struggle is Real. Hey, Stephanie. Hi, Dolly Bear. Hi, Lisa. Miss Petunia. Hey, Butterfly Kisses. Hi, Music City Mom. And Princess Megan Elsa. Hey, Aaron. Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. Hey, BG. Hey, Christy. Hey, Leather and Lace. True Crime Crazy. I gave you a little message at the end of my live yesterday, but I think that you may have missed it. I'm Pointer Lover. BG. Well, look who's here. Well, hello, Miss Tia.
Hello. Sorry, I was muted, of course.
You're good. You're good.
Question
Thank you
for everyone. I have a very important question.
Okay.
There is not a time where I do not listen to your intro and sing the last na-na-nas. Does anyone else do that?
I do.
Oh my God, I love that.
I do. It's so weird because when she first did this intro for me, I was like, I like the other one better. And she was like, what? Like, you're crazy. And everybody was like, no, this one's so much better. And I'm like, I don't even know what I would do without this one. Like, I love it so much.
Love it. It's so good. But literally every time it's on, I'm like, doesn't matter where I am. Target, I'm singing.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Sorry.
Hi, Todd. Who dat Clement? Hey, Struggle is Real. Thank you for joining. Northern Light, just one of them. Mal, I sent you a link if you would like to join us. You are welcome to. Hey, Candace. Hold on. I fell asleep. Was so tired from being in the hospital. Aww. No, I'm not mad at all. I actually was telling you that I have a whole thing that I plan on doing soon with the Idaho 4. So how much you tell me you want me to go live every day. I'm like, well, here you go. True Crime Crazy. This is for you the next week or so. So today I was actually going to do a follow-up on my yesterday live regarding CODIS. So yesterday we talked a lot about family, like genealogy and ancestry and forensic investigative genetic genealogy. And I was going to continue today with some stuff on CODIS. For whatever reason during that live, I was so hot and I've not felt good since. So I didn't get all the stuff together to do that live, but I'd already been kind of hoarding some of this stuff for Rachel's case. And then I was listening to some things last night while I was just resting. And so I don't have all the stuff that I want for CODIS. I did start working on it today, and I'm going to plan that live for tomorrow. So anybody who's like, hey, what happened to the CODIS live? I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure what time. Kids are out of school early because of parent-teacher stuff on Wednesdays, or not parents, teacher meetings. They always have like the early release.
You're back to start. School stuff. Mm-hmm.
It's just exhausting. So I didn't get to do all the things that I wanted to do, but I did start working on it today, but I don't feel comfortable is not the right word, but I don't feel like I have all the pieces for the CODIS stuff that I want to be able to give you guys, because I was finding so much cool stuff that I didn't even know going into it. So I want to make sure I can present that to you guys so we all can learn from it. So I'm going to do it tomorrow. I think that I should be able to put some more of it together tonight. But there's so much stuff happening. I shouldn't say so much stuff, because it's not so. There's so many interviews and stuff happening with Rachel Morin, and so much more information that's kind of coming out throughout these interviews that I was like, if I don't catch up on this right now, we're going to get kind of behind. So I wanted to put that together, and then I invited all my lovely ladies who have been helping me so much with the Rachel Morin case. And if you guys haven't had a chance to watch on the Decipher podcast, the lovely Tia actually was able to go to the memorial walk on Saturday, and she took a lot of footage of just the scenery and what was happening, and trying to capture just the feelings that, you know, when you're walking in something like that or participating in something like that. I thought you did a great job. I know you were very critical of yourself on like how bumpy it was, but you were walking. I don't think anybody expected you to not be bumpy. But
I went back again yesterday, which is a whole nother story. I went back to the trail by myself yesterday.
Did you?
I did.
To have some peace.
Actually, the truth be told, I went everywhere yesterday. If there was a person related to this case, I went close by. I won't say I stalked, because that's not right, but...
No, but you went and made some stops and checked out some things.
I did. And
I'm excited to hear when's the live.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was supposed to be tonight, but my husband's having a little procedure tomorrow. So probably tomorrow night, if all goes well with him. So everything's going to go well. It's just a little, it's nothing. But yes. So and I can share lots of things on here, because, you know, I don't have any problem doing that too. So, but I do have a couple, I do have one funny story. Well, two, you know, because I never go anywhere without a funny story. You want to hear my funny story?
I want to hear anything you're willing to tell me.
So as I'm driving around, this poor fella is out jogging, who I swear on my life is her boyfriend. I pull over. Yeah, I start taking pictures of him, as any stalker woman should. It's so not him.
What did you do?
I drove very fast away. I was like, oh, okay. Sorry, sir.
How did you realize it wasn't him?
Well, when you looked at it, you're like, well, clearly his hair is slightly longer and he's a little shorter. But, you know, when you're driving, you're like, oh my God, that's him. I mean, he was totally cut, built, just like, oh my God, it was.
No.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Was it one of her ex-boyfriends, maybe?
Honestly, it could have been the other guy. Who's it? Hubbard, whatever his name is. I can't remember.
Yeah, so I sent you the picture of them together, too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would have been like,
I was on the phone with LFT, of course. And the second funny story, so I went all around, I did all the things, and I came up with a couple conclusions on my own before I researched last night, which was interesting, because you know how when you see something on paper and you see something in person, like it clears things up and you're like, oh, that makes more sense to me. Or you heard that they went one place and then you're looking at going, this is physically impossible. This doesn't even make sense. So I had a lot of that yesterday, but I went
when you were trying to walk like the area where things happened and you were like, okay, how would somebody do this and this and this?
Yes.
Okay.
So we had that, but we also had
you can't just have that. Like, I want to know, what were you asking? What where were you?
Okay. So we started the day out because, you know, I got my partner LFT, so I have to have her, you know, in my ear at all times, because of course, if something,
well, she's also the good angel, so she should be on there all the time.
She should be, except she's also 5 hours away, so does me zero good in an emergency. But whatever. She was lovely. So she wandered around with me. So first we went to, oh my God, where did I go? I went to so many places. I went to the tanning place first because that was the first on the list. So we went
before
there.
you continue, I want to make sure everybody can hear you because you have a little bit of static. Are you okay? Do you hear yourself at all? I mean, like, do you hear it, or
I do not.
Is
Do you
it
want me
just
to
on my
let me
end?
go out and come back in? How about that?
Okay, well, if chat doesn't hear it, I don't care. I can hear what you're saying, but I mean, if it's just like because it's kind of a crackle, so I just want to make sure
that it's my microphone. Let me just fix that really quick.
Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure everybody can hear all the details. Well, now here I am, all alone. Hey, Melissa. Hi, everybody that was just popping in. I was trying to say hi to you guys in chat. I didn't want to interrupt her really interesting story. I want to hear all the things. I like to know all the stuff. Trying to wrap things up, but sealing in master and dining isn't so bueno. All right, we'll get those handymen. Get them. Crack the whip. Okay, here she is. Okay.
Sorry. Is that
No,
better?
you're good. We're all patiently waiting. I just wanted to make sure that everybody got all the good details.
Oh, you're sweet. Is this better? Do you hear the crackling still?
I don't hear anything now. Yeah, just your beautiful voice.
Oh, you're so cute. So we went to the tanning place Glow first, and tried really hard. Yeah, I tried really hard to be at the places around the time that they were there. Now, that didn't happen in every place I went to, but I tried because I wanted the lighting to be right. I wanted the people and the work in the area and all the, like all the things. So I went to Glow first, and I realized that Planet Fitness is across the street, 0.2 miles away. And that's his Planet Fitness. I kept thinking, and I think LFT kept thinking this too, that they went to her Planet Fitness, which was way across town by her house.
So she has the gold platinum membership or whatever it is that she could go whatever Planet Fitness she wants to. He does not have that. So he can only go to
the Forest Hill. Okay, so it made sense to me that it was right outside of the tanning place. That added up to me. Time-wise, it made perfect sense. I was trying to fill in blanks for time. Because what we know for a fact is that Richard Tobin dropped Rachel Morin off at her house at 4:50 p.m. on Saturday. That's what we know that he has said that. It's been confirmed by police. So 4:50 is a hard timeline for me. So then the 2 p.m.-ish is not a hard timeline, but we have an idea that she was tanning then. So we had to fill in the blanks. So that's what we did when we drove around.
Okay. So were you able to?
I was able to fill in some of the blanks. Yeah, I really was.
Did it fit into this amount of time?
It did.
Okay, so if at approximately 2:30, they go to the tanning.
Glow tanning.
You're right, which is I have over here. All right, let me get rid of this. Okay, so Glow Tanning is over here, and then Planet Fitness is across. And this is his Planet Fitness.
Correct.
And like we were saying, she has all the fancy ones. So
yes. And he lives in that area, not close there, by the way, about 11 minutes away.
At the man house.
Huh?
But at the man house?
No, his parents' house.
His parents' house. Okay. Because we were back and forth on whether he was staying.
I'll give you all that information later. I don't want to dox the guy. That's not.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it's okay. I just wanted to know which one we were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So over here,
he lives on that side of town.
At what, about 2:30 in the afternoon? Okay. And then, how long would she have been at the Glow place?
I mean, minimally, I would say 30 minutes, right? Like.
Okay. I have 2 p.m. Is it 2 or 2:30?
I have 2.
I have 2 as well. Okay. So 2:30 is when she's leaving here.
That's what I'm thinking.
Gotcha. Okay. She leaves Glow Tanning at 2:30, heads over to Planet Fitness, meets up with Richard.
Right.
Okay. They work out for.
Well, actually, let me back you up because he drops her off. I'm thinking he picks her up. So he would have had to pick her up no later than 1:30, 1:45.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
1:30, 1:45, he picks her up at home.
Yes.
Okay. Goes over here to Glow, gets there around 2. They're there for about a half hour, and they head over to Planet Fitness. So they get there about 2:35-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have them there about 2 hours.
At the gym for 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm exhausted just hearing that. It's exhausting.
I'm also saying, like, this, you know, how you run into your friends there. And, well, okay, let me back this up. I'm assuming, because Rachel was a beautiful, popular woman, that she had friends there. I don't go to the gym, so I don't know if you have.
Yeah, we're like, I think you get friends. I think you might meet some friends at the gym. It's possible.
I don't really know. Talking out of my ass on that one.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know. It seems like a good social place.
I mean, do you talk to people?
You probably would talk to some people, I would assume. I mean, I haven't been to a gym in a little while, obviously, but you know, I used to go to a gym quite frequently. And you do talk to people, but most of the time you're working out. But if they're there working out together, then it's most likely that he's doing some actual weightlifting, and she might be doing some cardio, and then possibly some smaller weights. But
that's what I mean. I
2 hours is quite a while. That's quite a while to be at the gym. Did anybody get lunch in this whole situation? There's no lunch happening. They already ate lunch because they got picked up at 1.
That's what I'm thinking. They didn't. I don't know. This is the maximum amount of time that they could have been there. The latest, now they could have left earlier, mind you, and gone to have lunch in between, in that 2 hour period. The latest they would have had to leave the gym in order for him to drop her off is 4:35. So they may have been there till 3:30, left 3:30, grabbed something to eat, and took her home, and she wound up home at 4:50. Time-wise, I'm giving them some leeway. I'm also making an assumption in there because we don't have any stops that they made, so I can't add anything unless I know for sure.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Make sense?
Yep. So approximately 2 hours at the gym, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay. And then at 4:50, he takes her and drops her off at home. Okay. She's home for about an hour before she leaves at 6 p.m.-ish. It's a little rough, 6:15 in there, where she leaves and drives to the trail. And that's about a 6-minute drive.
Okay. Daisy, we're talking about Robert Tobin, her boyfriend, who she was spending that afternoon with. So no, not speculation on that she was with him. And these couple of facts of what we know they did, the speculation would be on how long they were doing it, I guess you could say. We don't know exactly how long they were at the gym, but we do know that she goes to the tanning place and then they go to the gym. We know those two things, and then we know that he drops her off at approximately 4:50. So those are pretty much, I don't want to say set in stone facts, because, I mean, it could be 4:52, But only speculation is basically how long did they stay at each of these locations before going home, and did they eat lunch?
Right. I mean, who is she meeting at the trail? I don't think that this is a meetup. I know the rumors on social media, but I also hear what the sheriff is saying, and this sounds pretty random and pretty fierce and gross. So I don't think there's a meetup. Also, she went Facebook official with Richard, who in person is smoking oaken. I'd go Facebook official with him too. He's cute. And he was very sweet. He was very kind. But yeah, he totally gave me Save Robbie vibes. I was like, wow, if Robbie's half this cute, we're going to have to re-talk. Sorry. So anyway, so drops her off. She goes to the trail. Now, this is where...
So it drops her off, goes back over here. That's the man house. And then she lives... Why am I not finding where she lives?
I think...
On my markers. Am I down? Oh, there it is. Why am I not finding where she lives? Okay, so she's down here.
Yeah.
You guys can see. Okay, so here's tanning, and here's Jim, and then here's her house. So he drives her back down here, drops her off approximately 4:50. she does whatever with the fam, with
She
kids.
does. Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
she eats at about 6, and she goes up here and hops into the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail parking lot, which
Yep.
is now marked right here, and she goes for a walk on the trail.
That's correct.
There we go. Okay. So you went to all of these spots.
I went to all of those spots, and then
You're okay with the timing. You're like, okay, this makes sense to me that
totally
this all kind of fits into this. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I counted for lights. I accounted for traffic, because it was a Saturday. At that point in time in that area, it can get a little clustered. There's a lot of restaurants in that area. But I mean, I gave within reason. So it made sense to me. It's for my head, it made sense.
Okay.
So then
That's
I went
fair.
to the trail yesterday, and as I pulled in, there was not a car in sight except 3 sheriff cars. Nobody,
Really?
not the people
What
that
time
live
did you get there?
Huh? Actually, I got there at 3:05.
Okay.
So I was early there. There was nobody around. And I've never been to that trail where there's nobody. Like usually when you pull into the
Nobody
parking
wants
lot.
to be there.
Yeah, I guess not. So
Okay.
I tell LFT that I'm gonna try. Like I'm a big girl. Like it's daylight, and I'm like it's pretty out. It's a beautiful day. We're gonna go for a walk. So, and I have my selfie stick, so I'm gonna refilm, and here we go. So
Okay.
I get over to the flowers, which are still there, where her mom placed flowers. And so I start filming the flowers. I start walking around, and I realize it is so damn quiet. I'm like, oh my God. So I get Lefty. It is kind of creepy out here. I've never felt like this before. Like all the hair standing up on my
now
neck.
You know what's happened there.
Yeah. So all the hair is standing up on my neck, and I'm like, all of a sudden, it's like you get that. I mean, I got anxiety. I got total anxiety being there. I've never had it before in my life. And I was by myself. There was no birds chirping. There was no crickets. There was no hammering. There was no nothing. And I was like, this is so weird. So she's like, don't go far. Just go down the trail a little tiny bit. Because I said to her straight off the bat, there is no way I can go all the way down there right now. I'm utterly terrified. And I said, I don't know why. I can't explain it, but I just am. And she's like, no, just stay close. So I'm walking, and
That's your feeling. That's your feeling. Go with it.
Yeah, right. Which is what I was trying to do. So I I get halfway down, and I have film of this. Of course, I have film of this. And 2 guys start walking towards me. 2 large men down the trail. You can see them on the trail. I wet my pants. LFT. Oh my God, there's 2 men. What do I do? Like, I'm scared. I need to get back to the car. Fat girl problems. Because it's true. The trail's uphill. When you go back, the trail's uphill. So
I know. I was listening in your one video. You're like, it has to be downhill the other way, right? Like,
right.
How am I going uphill every time I walk over there?
It's like, why am I going uphill all the time?
Right.
So I'm filming, and I'm still trying to like side eye the guys without, being a jerk. And I'm going, oh God, they really are big. One's wearing shorts and one's wearing pants. Like, this is weird. And now I'm full on. Like, you can in the video, I'm running. Hi, Mal.
Hi. Are you still recording while you're running?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Get to the car.
Hi, Mal.
Hey.
I'm standing at my open door, right? And I'm going to get in the car. I'm talking to LFT, and I'm like, this is creepy. It's so weird. There's nobody around here. It's just 3 cop cars. It's 2 sheriff deputies. They walk up to me, and I just look at them, and I'm mad. Now I'm mad because you just made me run, and there were no zombies, so there should be no excuse for the running. So I look at them, I go, you 2 just scared the shit.
Can I ask you what you're wearing?
What was I wearing?
Like, does it
T-shirt.
look like
I was wearing a t-shirt
like
and
you
shorts.
could run, like you could be there for a run? Like, I
Yeah,
mean, or
I
is it
could have
like you're
been.
in jeans and like, you know,
No.
clogs or something? You know what I mean?
No, I was there. I had my tennis shoes on. Like, I look like I
You
belong
could have
there.
been like, hey, I'm totally just out here for a jog.
Yeah, by myself with my selfie stick
With,
and my
yeah, I'm
camera.
recording in case anybody comes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm standing at my car, and the cops roll up, and they're looking at me, and the guy says, "You okay?" And I said, "No. You just scared the shit out of me." And he's like, he kind of chuckles, and he's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I don't know. What are you
Somebody
doing
was
here?"
just killed here?
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing here? You know, like what? So he just kind of looks at me. First of all, I look at him and I'm like, I said, "You scared the shit out of me." And he kind of looks back at me. Mentally, in my head, what I hear is, well, if you're that scared, lady, you shouldn't be here, right? Because, you know, that's what makes sense. That's what he would say to me if he
What
were.
did he really say?
He was very kind, but we had this look for about, it was a long 20 seconds where he was just kind of the one eye closed, sort of a squint, like, "You're kind of dumb, aren't you?" And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I was scared. You scared me. And he said, "We're out patrolling the area." And I was like, yeah, I know. You guys have ninja'd my ass for 3 times on film. Like, enough. But
are you still recording him at this time?
no, I stopped at that point. I mean, when I tell you I was scared, like I was shaking. I was literally shaking.
Yeah, that's because your anxiety was already so high.
Oh my God. They were, they got in their car and were laughing at me. First of all, and then I got tailed for a few minutes. They followed me around town. I made some random turns because I was like, I know you're following me. But I'm like, I'm so not 5'9" nor a male, so you don't have to worry. Like, it's not me. I'm good. We're okay here. But they did. They followed me around town. Very nice guys, and then I went home. So that's my funniest story with the cops.
Wow. So how did it end? How was the interaction? How did you end it with them?
The last thing that he said to me was, "God, can you hear it in my voice? I have anxiety again." He told me to have a nice day and to be safe, and that maybe I should bring a friend.
Maybe you should bring a friend. You're like, "I have one. She's right here."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh shit.
Maybe you should bring a friend."
You're crazy. Oh, we got it. We understand everything now. You got a friend in here, huh?
Yeah, okay. That was my whole problem. Is my friend is in there.
Oh my gosh. I just can't get over the fact that Teresa asked you what you were wearing a second ago. So,
I wanted to know, like, so I can visualize, like, if she's like, these people are like, she's like totally dressed up, or you know what I mean? Like, what is she doing? And then she's like running, or does she look like she could possibly have just, you know, it's okay that she's running. She looks like she might have been there for a jog. Like, how out of place was the running according to her attire?
Well, the attire would have been like, oh yeah, she's totally a runner. The body says the only place she runs is to the fridge.
Yeah.
Oh. So
yeah.
I mean, don't be real. Just tell like it is.
Oh my gosh.
In all seriousness, the vibe in town is very, very, very different than the way it used to be. Bel Air is a very carefree, fun, cute, friendly town. Still all of those things, except it's heavy. There's a lot. I bet the sheriff and the Bel Air police are triple overtime. They are all over the place. And it's a weird vibe there right now. It's not normal. Everybody's on edge. And I will tell you that I feel for those in the Hispanic community. Because
everybody's side-eyeing every Hispanic male that's approximately 5'9".
Yeah.
You better be either really freaking short and be Hispanic or really tall and be Hispanic.
Yeah.
Because if you're right there in the middle, people are probably like,
there was a couple times where I was like, lady, I see you looking at, and it kind of broke my heart a little bit, but yet I get it. Like, I get it. It's not okay.
Well, I think it
But
was
we're
the sheriff
all
that said
vigilant.
that, like Bel Air, he doesn't even know like the last homicide that happened in Bel Air.
There's so like it's DUIs, occasional drug. Like it's not that happening to the town.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're kind of off the beaten path. Yes, like that, Aaron. Yes.
Oh, that got crazy. And because they didn't know where he was, it was people like freaking in Alaska that were like, "Oh my gosh, he's here." And they'd post the picture and it was like so far from actually looking like Brian Laundrie.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone's just like, "Oh my gosh, he's here." It was crazy.
It's I mean, it does, like I said, it kind of breaks my heart because I was like,
It is sad. It's understandable, but it's still really sad because, and it was like an odd comment that colonel said during that press conference about like, you know, we don't think this person represents like the Hispanic community.
I didn't like that.
It was an odd statement. I understood his point. Like, hey, we're not sitting here thinking that all people who are Hispanic are out here trying to kill somebody. You know, like I get what he was trying to say. It was just such an odd. It was so odd the way he said it, and it was like almost like you brought more attention to all Hispanics in that area than most people were probably even thinking. I don't know, because it's so different. You know, this is something, and not to go, I don't want to go into racism and you know, any that type of like, you know, discrimination like that. But I'm from, you know, Southern California. It's just, it's not, you know, that different to have every single race all over the place. You know what I mean? But I also understand that there are still parts of the country where it's not necessarily like that. So I was like, why make that statement? Is that like an odd thing? Like, is this area not known for having many Hispanics? And so they want to try to make sure their population, like if that was said in like LA, that would be really freaking weird. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So I was like, I don't know, maybe it's the area. And he was just trying to say like, hey, like we're still like, we're not trying to like create like a race war over this and think that it's like the Hispanic community. I don't know. I just rubbed me wrong. And probably just because, like I said, I'm from such a melting pot of everything that it doesn't, I would never have called it out like that. It was just weird.
I just didn't like the way that he called it out personally, but I love him. He's a good guy. And I think it's one of those, like, you're trying the best you can to say all the right things at that moment. And I think that one, I'm with you. I was kind of off put a little. I was like, I don't know if we needed to say that out loud.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I don't think he meant any harm by it.
Nor do I.
So, yeah. Hey, J.E. Averett. What did you miss? Right now, we're just talking about all of Tia's most embarrassing moments on the Ma and Pa trail.
All of them, including the sheriff.
Hi, Rena. Thank you for being a member.
Aww.
I live in, Elizabeth said I lived an hour from there. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Aaron said in Texas, it's this, like, there's a Mexican restaurant at every other corner in every race here. Like, what? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't know if it was like a population thing or what. It just, it was
really. I mean, unless I'm missing something, like, it's not really like that.
So Mal, when you were in chat, you were like, Tia, I have like 1,000 questions for you, but was it, you said it's a different case or is it for this case?
It's something that I'm gonna cover on Thursday. It's just kind of the new things that have come out with Jimmy Burke. So I kind of wanted to pick Tia's mind on that today or tonight or whenever.
Okay.
So the police chief that was arrested that was the police chief during the original Gilgo case.
Yeah, what's up with that?
He was arrested this morning again for solicitation. And so
gross.
There's a lot more things coming out. They're wondering whether or not he's gonna potentially, they said it was a sting, but I'm not exactly sure. A lot of people have been pointing the finger at him in regards to he was known for potentially using escorts, and was known to frequent these sex parties on the where Shannon Gilbert was found.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's been a lot of talk. He was in jail for beating up someone, but then he got out, and then this morning he was rearrested. So, but this time
he got out and was rearrested. What's the different charge?
Yes. So he was arrested he was the police chief, and he was arrested for, I want to say, someone went and took something out of his police car, and he ended up like beating him really bad and then got arrested for it. And then it's been out since, I don't know how long, but this morning at like 10:15, he was arrested in a sting where an undercover male officer was propositioned at the Veterans Memorial in Suffolk County.
So, ooh, that's uncomfy.
Yeah.
It's all the way uncomfy.
And not only that, but he utilized, he said, "Don't you know who I am?" when they arrested him, and they're like, "No."
As you should say when you're the former police chief getting arrested.
They should be like, "Yeah, we know exactly who you are. You're the guy that we're putting in handcuffs for being."
Yeah, no, they said they didn't know him because this was a while back, but there was a lot of controversy because he was the one who stopped the FBI from getting involved in the Gilgo case at the very beginning.
Okay, so I have no educated opinion on any of this, but I have to ask this question. You said that he was arrested for soliciting a guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because the one victim of Gilgo doesn't really match necessarily, somewhat something he does because of the searches now, but doesn't match the victimology of the others. So this is just it's an interesting little turn of events. And like I said, I don't have an educated opinion, so I won't make one.
Well, so
take
that was kind of
more info.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and go into it a lot. I'm gonna go live, I think, Thursday night. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
But I wanted to pick Tia's brain just because I know you're from somewhat that area. So yeah, Pointers. So
no, I'm not from there. I'm from Michigan, but my husband's family is in that area. In fact, my mother-in-law just moved there. Huh?
Yeah.
Tell him before he has to have his procedure, we need some info.
You get your ass in here, buddy.
Yeah, right. No, but so I've just been kind of going through that because a lot of people have always said that there was a potential of that being why, number one, Rex's his car description and his person description was not put out in 2010.
Because of the association with I've heard this for a long time, that this guy has been associated with him. There's also parties on Fire Island. Did you hear about that too? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know anything.
Fire Island.
I don't know anything about any of this.
The parties. So the house that Shannon Gilbert was at with Joseph Brewer, that island, which is not Fire Island, what is it? Oak Beach or something like that. They were also known for having like these types of parties, and he was actually known to frequent these parties.
Like swinger party kind of things, or
like hiring as many people as you can, and it's just like a huge
hiring as many sex workers.
Yeah.
And we swinging on the swing with the friends. Yeah. Like your neighbors. There's a whole thing about it.
Yeah. So, and that I was listening. Who was I listening to today? It was the lawyer that's always on duty, Ron.
Well, that's what Midwest Me Monster. Watch the lawyer from Duty Run and POC. They have the full scoop.
Police off the cuff.
Okay.
Oh, there.
Yes.
So Duty Ron. I mean, I love Duty Ron. I think he's great, and he's actually on Long Island. So he's really. But I love Police off the Cuff. I just adore him. He's so great. He's on the island too. So
so is Melanie Little. So she's an attorney. She's always on with Duty Ron. Oh my gosh, don't say that. Some of the body parts were found in Tupperware. Like,
Ed Wallace. Thank you. Yes, I love Ed Wallace.
Maybe they were Tupperware parties.
Well, that would really tie them to something. But
like not joking, like that could really put in, like that could have a whole thing to do with stuff. But it's not just, there is a group of them. Because many suspected that the Gilgo Beach killer was more than one person.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
this is so deep. This is like a whole other live deep. Okay. Yeah,
I know. Sorry, but that you asked. I did.
I totally asked. And if Sleuths Investigates was here, she would know everything that you're talking about. And I've told her she wants me to cover Gilgo. And I'm like, there's no way I can do that on my own. Like, she's going to have to come and help because she's knee deep in it. And so we're going to do it, but she's going to have to help me. And like I said, I'm not educated and I hate to make uneducated guesses.
Well, and I covered each individual victim on my channel.
Right. Like, and that's about as much as I know besides reading stuff back when it happened. That's literally how much I know about the case. And I mean, I saw the arrest.
Well, so this would actually explain a lot though, because when it came to Joseph Brewer and her driver, I mean, if there potentially was other people there, including the police chief at the time or whatever, I mean, that's going to stop them from talking.
This is so like backwoods Kentucky kind of stuff right now. I just
my gosh.
Feeling very Murdoch.
That's watching the show Justified is what I feel like.
It's very Murdoch, though. It's very deep. Also, the Fire Island connection. That's a huge community of gay men on Fire Island.
Yeah.
And
it's Fire
that's
Island.
where the police chief liked to frequent.
Okay, how long? I am gonna move on, but I need to know how long was this guy the police chief, and when did he stop? When did they stop him from being police chief?
So hang on, let me see. I'm gonna have to look it up because I don't know.
I might need to do what's the list podcast.
Ooh,
I need to just dig into that.
Yeah.
Too. You send me a link for it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's why I said I haven't covered it because I don't know enough about it, and I know it's kind of weird, but serial killers have just never really, they're not the top of my interest list. I know that sounds terrible when it comes to stuff like this, but it's just, I don't know.
Well, I will say for you and anyone else that's listening, Melanie Little did a whole stream today, a live stream as this was kind of happening. And
yes, she did.
And it was incredible. Duty Ron goes up there and talks too. And
I just subscribed to her like 2 days ago too. Let me find her.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who she was. And then I saw a comment, I think on ATS from her or from her. And I was like, hey, I recognize that name. I didn't know she had a channel. So
yeah, I love her.
I'm going to share it real quick. Somebody else has probably already got it and probably already sharing it, but whatever. I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh.
So, no, I do. I enjoy her.
Okay, so the latest in it is, it says, was arrested. He was the police chief of Suffolk County from 2012 to 2015.
Okay.
And then today he was arrested around 10:15 a.m. at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Park in Farmingville after exposing himself to a ranger and saying he was interested in oral sex.
Okay.
I'm just saying that was the latest of the things, but
I'm interested in oral sex. Well, I think that's probably a very common interest in men, but that's neither here nor there at this point. Well, you got me all discombobulated. Hi, Commander.
Well, you want to know the other thing too that I heard today on Melanie Little's thing was he still gets his pension while in jail.
Huh?
Isn't that crazy?
What was he?
I thought you couldn't earn money at all.
No. So for the police, because Duty Ron came on and was talking about it too. And as long as you have retired completely, which he ended up resigning. So as long as you are no longer working in the police force, there's nothing that can take your pension away. So even if you go to jail, it goes into your commissary each month.
You could also give it to your
Wow.
spouse if you're married.
But for him, he's not. So it's crazy. Yeah.
That's insane. I did not know about that.
Yeah, Pointer Lover said, yeah, $145,000 a year is what he's still getting while he was in jail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Prison.
Unbelievable.
Okay, sorry, back to topic.
No, it's okay, because I mean, I'm very curious about it. I just have no way to weigh in, so then I end up making
Look at it and then
comments.
Come ask me questions on Thursday.
Okay.
I was gonna say, yeah, I want to be there Thursday. I want a team meeting afterwards. I need.
Yeah.
We need a team meeting. But we need to talk to your husband before she can even go live. So let's just we'll go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull up some of the stuff that I pulled let's go back to Rachel Morin for a hot second, since that's what we're doing here. Let me see where all the stuff is that I pulled up. I try to pull everything basically that's happened since the press conference. A lot of people are asking a lot of questions about Hannah Collins. Are you guys familiar with Hannah Collins? So Hannah, yeah. I think Tia, you know Hannah Rachel Collins, which is actually the opposite. So it's Rachel Hannah Morin.
Yeah.
So Hannah Collins is somebody who was killed out here in the LA area.
Do we know that yet?
Do I know that she was in the LA area, or that she was?
She lived in Long Beach, right?
Last I heard that they didn't say for sure if it was.
We know that she died.
Yes. Okay. I was just curious if something new had come out.
Yeah, she's definitely. Okay. Yeah, they won't release anything. They won't even release. They won't technically release his name, even though most people know his name. Yeah. Based on his age and the fact that he lived.
The address is out there.
That address. Yeah. So I don't know why they're not releasing his name. It's kind of odd. And they have pictures of him. His mom obviously has pictures of him, but they're not putting those out there. So it's a very interesting thing. I do not believe they're connected, though, simply because I feel like both of these people had gotten very heavy into drugs, the perpetrator and Hannah Rachel. And they're leaning towards that it has something to do with being drug related, so that's why they're not saying they're not saying whether it was murder or any an overdose. They're not saying at all what it is. So but that's why I'm saying I don't think that they're connected, simply because of the narrative that's being pushed for the Hannah Rachel Collins crime. Or I mean, there's still going to be a crime because he wrapped her up and hid her in his room,
right?
But wasn't she found like the 16th? Isn't that?
Yeah, they won't say how long she was there.
Yeah, that was my question. I was trying to.
Not that I found anyway. When I was researching it, they wouldn't say how long she was there. The mom went into the son's room because it smelled like gas.
Yes, right.
And so goes into the room and finds her wrapped in plastic. So we don't know how long she was there. We technically aren't supposed to know his name. We're not supposed to know his face, and we're not supposed to know the address. But we know all of those, or most of those things, except for about her. We don't know her cause of death, and we don't know if it had, how much it actually had to do with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to pull up the stuff now that I had in here.
I think it's weird, but no, she moved from, was it Louisiana or Alabama, right? Oh, no, Louisiana. Oh, God, I'm confusing all my cases.
Okay. You can confuse them. Yeah, she had just moved out here in about June.
Oh, wow.
And then she moved to Long Beach. Is that right, T?
That area, yeah.
Okay.
You're not too far off.
I also was hearing the questions on whether or not this gas smell she was smelling could have potentially been given off by the body. And if that's the case, how long would that have taken to do? And would that mean that she was in there for a longer period of time than what was originally expected?
Right.
Huh.
LFT said she's from Missouri, which actually I think that sounds right.
A second. I thought for sure. Now, LFT is usually right. So,
okay. So I'm gonna read this while you check on that. So I just wanted to bring that up simply one because I saw it in my messages that I had to myself, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to make sure I say
She's from
that.
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Richland, Mississippi.
IPPI. And a lot of people on social media are commenting that they believe that they might be connected. I do not believe that they are connected at this point. I think that it's two totally different MOs, and the guy who we're not supposed to know who he is doesn't really look like this guy. So just an FYI. Okay, so this is an article from KTLA that came out very close. It was like the day after or the night of the press conference. So it says, like, days after a woman was found brutally murdered in rural Maryland, DNA evidence has linked the crime to a suspect wanted in a home invasion in Los Angeles earlier this year. So there's a couple things. Obviously, we know most of this, but what I wanted to talk about was the stuff that connected him to LA. So we had a lot of questions when Mallory and I were on, like, about this whole LA thing, and it just didn't seem very. There was something off about this LA stuff, like the video itself and the closing of the door and the girl being there. And so I found out some more info, and I want to kind of lead you guys down what I was looking at.
Did you listen to that one thing?
I did, and I clipped some of it, so I have those ready to go too.
Are you supposed to be showing us something? Because I don't see anything.
No, well, yes, I am supposed to be showing you something, but no, you should not see it yet.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
This is just the article, so I was just reading it. But I'll put it up here so you guys can read it with me if you want to. So the video shared during the press conference on Thursday and then later shared on social media showed a man identified as the suspect leaving a home during the LA home invasion. The suspect has been described as a man in his 20s who is of Hispanic descent and stands around 5'9". The Los Angeles Police Department later confirmed that the assault and break-in happened on March 26th in the jurisdiction of the 77th Division. Let me show you guys what
at 3:20 in the morning, right? Didn't they finally announce the time?
I didn't see a time. Do you
Yeah.
have where that came from?
Yep, USA Today.
Okay, can you send me that link? I'll pull it up too.
Yes, ma'am.
So just to show you guys the area that we're looking at and the amount of crime that would be in this type of area, because this is another thing that we were talking about. Like, this isn't like Bel Air, Maryland, where nothing really ever happens. This is like South Central LA, where there is a lot of crime that happens. So it's very, very different. And like, people are like, well, why can't we find more information about this crime? And why isn't it being like completely followed up on? Or why isn't there like news articles and this, that, and the other? I just want you guys to be able to see, like, the area that we're looking at is, it's a lot of crime. We're looking at this block. Actually, it's a little too high. I should have gone down a little further. It's down in here. But you can see the general point. So it's from LA's right here, and the area covers this little square. We'll call it a square, but it has a couple little outliers. But this square right here. And it's not one of the best areas of LA County. It's one of the worst. So, okay, let me go back over here. So I just wanted you guys to be able to see that. Let me pull my article back up. So we know that it happened on March 26th in the 77th Division, which encompasses part of South Central. The LAPD is in contact with the authorities and offering assistance with their homicide investigation. Okay, so this is kind of how we narrow down like what actually is happening and what goes on. Let me pull up the next one for you. Let me do this. Hi, Thistle. You heard the victim was 9? Okay, I have not heard that. I haven't heard that one. Okay, let me pull up this next one for you. Okay, so we got basically the same gist of, you know, about her crime or about her murder, and then we have about the crime in LA. And then they say, like, we believe this was a person that Rachel didn't know, which he said Colonel William Davis told the reporters during that press conference. The sheriff's office released home surveillance video from Los Angeles that shows the man walking out without his shirt on. Davis said he hoped someone in Los Angeles or Harford County could see the video and recognize the attacker. The killing of Morin, 37, mother of 5, has drawn widespread attention. True crime YouTubers and podcasters, that's us. seized on the case. Court records show Morin had a history of litigation with her romantic partners. She disappeared on the evening of August 5th, so on and so forth. Los Angeles police said that the suspect was involved in a residential burglary and assault that took place on March 26th in South Los Angeles. A spokeswoman said that the assault was not of a sexual nature, but that the investigators did not want to disclose any more details about what occurred in the house at that time. So this was important to me. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait
they
a minute.
really need to get their spokespeople together when talking about this thing. I'm telling you.
Right.
I just did it in the back chat, Teresa.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. I'll pull it up next then. I know a few of you guys just popped in, so no, that's a different case. The 9-year-old, not 9. Okay. Oh, LFT says I heard 9 as well, but I'm not sold on that age. I'm not sold on that age either. This is one there. So as we keep going, you guys can let me know what your thoughts are. Hey, Mike, welcome back. Okay, let me see. Okay, question.
Young girl was the only thing I heard. That was the only.
Yeah,
They keep going
young
back
girl.
to that. Yeah. So Los Angeles police detectives have been in contact, so on and so forth. So we know all that stuff. Then let me see if I can find it quickly. Los Angeles headquarters. So LA puts out a Facebook post, and I'm not going to share just because it's on my Facebook, and you guys know how I feel about that. The state of Maryland announced today that DNA obtained in the Rachel Morin murder matches that of a suspect identified in a residential burglary and an assault on March 26th in the 77th Division. Los Angeles Police Department detectives have been in contact with Harford County investigators to provide any and all information needed to bring the person responsible for such a brutal and senseless murder to justice. We will continue to support the Harford County Sheriff's Department as they move forward with their investigation, as well as provide any additional information we may uncover as we proceed with our burglary and assault investigation. So they posted that on their LAPD Facebook page. No more information still. So let me go here. Well, let me pull up Tia's real quick because that's another article. Then the other ones I have are videos. Okay, so this one I haven't read. The man suspected of killing a Maryland woman on a popular hiking trail this month is the same person who assaulted a young girl in Southern California in the spring, according to the DNA results. Sheriff's Colonel William Davis said DNA from the person who likely killed Rachel Morin in a violent homicide matched the DNA of a man who assaulted a young girl in Los Angeles during a March invasion. Davis, at a Thursday evening press conference, shared video of the person. We know all this. The brief clip, shirtless, We know that part too. We believe the suspect acted, here we go, 3:20 a.m. The home invasion occurred on March 26th at 3:20 a.m. and said they could not share further information about the incident. So this is the only place I've actually seen this then. I hadn't seen 3:20 a.m. So thank you for sending that.
No worries.
We believe the suspect acted alone. Davis said investigators believe the suspect is 5'9", in his mid-20s, so on and so forth. I think now it will lead us down the path that we believe that this was a person that Rachel probably didn't know. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else in here that we need to cover. Okay, I think that's all the added info. See, this is a problem when you can't just get a simple statement. How is everybody figuring out just different pieces and having to report different pieces, and then we have to come back and go, okay, now here's one piece, here's another piece. Mike
especially when all those pieces don't mix well together.
No,
That's
because that video
the biggest problem.
The video itself is just does not add up. It doesn't make sense to me. Mike said, I don't feel like a burglary or a regular assault because why did he just walk away? Yeah, we're all in that same kind of position. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I've looked at like a lot of the comments on even like law enforcement posts, and they're all basically saying the same thing. Like, hey, this doesn't make sense. There's somebody closing the door. Who's the person closing the door? Is that the victim? What are we even really looking at here? And then some suspecting that the reason that they're calling it an assault is because it has to do with like an LE person, like somebody that's in law enforcement or related to law enforcement. It doesn't really make sense.
The whole video doesn't make sense to me. I literally have so many questions on that. And if it is a young person and underage, I mean, they're entitled to tell us nothing. Where are your clothes, sir? What are you doing? Did you fall asleep? I want to know the answer to your shoes, your shirt, your service. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Okay, and so if this person is like super young, if they are very young, then that makes it even weirder that the person would be home without any parents and that all of this is kind of going just unnoticed by anybody that's in the house. I don't know, am I kind of reading too much into that? Because that just is odd to me too. Because it Mallory, when we were on the other night, did you agree with me that it was odd, like it was almost like it could be like a teenage person with a person in the early 20s, or did you disagree with me?
Okay, I had to run downstairs. I heard my name as I was down there.
Way too much today. Can you just stop? Yesterday and today, stop running.
Trust me, I wouldn't be doing it, but Dexter needed water and he was barking. Okay, what's my question?
I was asking, did you agree or disagree with me on the thought process that this girl in this video could possibly just be like a teenage girl that was hanging out with a guy who was probably early 20s at the time, maybe mid 20s, that she wasn't supposed to be hanging out with, or did you disagree with me?
No, yeah. And then the parents were the ones that filed everything. Potentially. Yeah.
What do you think, Tia?
First of all, I agree with that's my first theory. My second theory is the Iron Man theory. What's that guy's name?
With
3 names.
The Iron Man theory?
Yeah, what's the wait, who's the guy that plays Iron Man? Why can't I think of his name?
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah. So remember how he broke in, fell asleep when he was back in the day? Does anyone remember that? That's what this reminds me of. Like somebody breaking in, drugged up, just kind of fell asleep. This is my only theory. I can't make it work otherwise.
So what assault would there have been?
I have no idea. Maybe he curled up next to the girl. I'm making things up as I go. See, this is where speculation comes in, and I don't want to say because I don't know.
Huh.
Well,
okay.
Is that stupid? That's probably stupid, but that's just how my
mind
mind
goes.
No, it's not.
There was a guy who lived in an apartment building kind of next to my apartment building. And they were all kind of shaped the same, and he came home very intoxicated, and he went to the same door but of the wrong apartment building and like went inside and went to bed, but the woman that was in the bed was not the right woman. That makes sense. So she like woke up, freaked out, and then
there's a comment. I'm concerned. Who's victim blaming? I'm not victim blaming.
Yeah.
Midwest Mima. Oh God, I'm certainly not victim blaming anybody.
Oh, I hope. Yeah, no, I don't think anybody is victim blaming. Are we talking about for Rachel or for this young girl? I don't know. We don't know enough about her case to even victim blame. I'm trying to figure out what the heck happened and why we can't get the information.
Well,
I don't blame either one of them.
Even though we are actually getting the information, it's all different information because there's something that you'll bring up later that kind of goes exactly against what they put out in the first place. So,
correct. Right.
So Ashley, I can see Ashley kind of going back and forth in chat. You're correct because it is stated that it is an SA in some instances, and then in other instances, Ellie is saying it was not.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, I hope Mima knows. Like, we're just trying to figure out the whole understanding of this. Yeah. No. Either way, they're still victims, and they're actually pushing to get the LA DNA, well, that's the potential. That's kind of the talk of local news, is like, are they going to get an indictment on the DNA itself? Because of the fact that there's a statute of limitations. Obviously, there's not a statute of limitations for Rachel because hers is a homicide. But for the LA one, an assault and a home invasion, there is a statute of limitations. But if they can get the person or the DNA of the person indicted by a grand jury, which is just so crazy to me that this is like the world we live in now, that
Can you imagine?
then when he is arrested, regardless of when, they would be able to prosecute him for these because he'd already have been indicted within the statute of limitations on his DNA.
That's amazing. You can indict a ham sandwich and DNA.
Yes.
That is so cool.
DNA on a ham sandwich at this point.
You can.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah, like the woman that went into the wrong apartment and ended up shooting that guy, and it was his own apartment. That case is just sad.
Weird.
That case is so sad to me. That was just a stupid decision. And at the end of her trial, the guy's brother goes up and gives her a hug.
Is that the one? I saw that. That was
She's a little tiny
to my knees heartbreaking.
It's so sad because it didn't need to happen, but she was scared and made a stupid decision, and she was not, in the full right state of mind, but he tried to tell her like, hey, wait. Like he's sitting down eating like on his couch, and it's just so bad. Sweet and Sleuthy, thanks for joining. Let's see. So did LA charge that guy for what he did to that miner? That's what we were just talking about. So there's rumor that they're going to try to indict his DNA. He has not been charged because they don't know who he is. So that's the other weird part about this whole thing is he's leaving like he was comfortable there.
Very. That's what makes it so strange. Is he saunters like I keep calling it the walk of shame because that's what it reminds me of. Just so right. I don't know. No.
Nope. Don't have his name.
Yeah, I heard someone in chat had said like apologetic. Like he was like, I'm sorry, and was like leaving almost, but like was leaving more apologetic. You know what I mean?
That's what led me down the whole Iron Man theory.
Yeah.
Because you would be apologetic if you fell asleep at the wrong house.
Maybe.
I don't know.
If he just like goes into the house and he, I don't know. That could be. It could be.
I don't know. I'm out and I'm really just trying to think outside the box because my heart does not want to think of what could have happened there if it is a young person.
So that's what we're going to get to that. So that's why I want to show you all the steps that I've kind of looked at throughout the last few days of trying to figure out this whole thing, and so we can actually make sense of it. Okay, let me play this. You guys can see this still, right? Yeah. Okay.
Joseph Murtha, he's the attorney for the family of Rachel Morin. He's kind enough to join us live. Mr. Murtha, thank you for being here. Obviously, the first question, the most important question, how is Rachel's family doing and her 5 children?
Well, first, I want to thank you for allowing us to speak on behalf of Rachel's family, and particularly to a national audience, as you've indicated. They're grieving. They have had an incredible loss. Rachel was a very dedicated mother, a dedicated daughter, sister, and very involved in everyone's life. And so they're struggling at this point. They just recently had the service for Rachel, and now they're moving on from grieving to wanting to embrace her energy and her spirit.
I don't think this was at the actual clip I wanted to play, but I'm
going to be a Trail of Flowers walk on the Ma and Pa Trail, and the other one's going to be a celebration of life for her at a church that she attended.
Right, and that's this weekend. We'll make note of that as well a little later in the program. What was their reaction to this news that the DNA strike on Rachel's crime scene matched a crime scene in Los Angeles where a young girl was assaulted in this home invasion we're showing on the screen again?
It gives them hope. The fact that there's evidence, scientific evidence that can be pursued, and particularly the thing that really brings them hope is that with a national audience, just like we have tonight, that there is somebody out there that knows this person. And they're asking that share the information who it is, have some humanity, recognize that this loss has caused incredible pain to lots of people, and tell someone who that person is.
There's been a lot of discrepancy in reporting on this crime. There was a witness who said he was part of the search party that found Rachel, and he described the scene as quite dire, that she was completely naked and that she was beaten to a point where she was almost unrecognizable. And it's hard to get that clarified. Can I ask you if you know what the facts are and if that comports with the facts of this case?
The family has stayed removed from the information that's being disseminated either on social media or even through law enforcement so that they can be supportive of one another and particularly of Rachel's children. So they have avoided the specifics at this time because they're really focused on how are we going to help one another? How are we going to help Rachel's children?
Understand. Did they think that Rachel knew this person, or like the colonel, did they think this was a random attack?
They believe what the colonel has indicated, that this was a random attack. Rachel, I don't think, had any enemies, and she had lots of friends. And so sadly, this was a person who randomly picked her out for what a horrific crime it was.
Okay, I'm just gonna pause it for. Like I said, this was not the clip that I intended to play, but once I started playing it, I was like, it still goes with what we're talking about. So this is the attorney for Rachel Morin's family, and yes, Mr. Johnny Blackhawk, Mike G. They are. Most of the clips do talk about you, and I think that each of us individually have at one point said they never actually say that the information is correct or is incorrect.
Yeah.
They never deny the facts of what's being said. What they try to do, and one of the first lives we did on this case, we actually went through your interviews and showed that the news media is who actually states that you found the body. You don't state that, but they either put it at the bottom and say, hey, or like, this is the guy who, found Rachel Morin, or they actually say it. It doesn't come from you. And throughout these clips that you hear, since you're here, I'm going to let you know, yeah, a lot of the clips do have something to say about you. And they're like, yeah, he wasn't even there. And it's like, then tell the news media that, because that's what the news media said. So anyway, so yeah, you'll definitely hear a lot of commentary about yourself in some of these. But once again, this is the attorney for her family at this point, and people are like, why does her family need an attorney? To be honest, I think that's the smartest thing to do. Is families should immediately get an attorney in a situation like this. One, they understand the legal jargon. They can help, especially if you don't know anything about law enforcement or the way that the system works. They can help get you through and understand the legal jargon, the legal process, and why you're being told or not being told certain details. They can also be a liaison between a victim's family and even a perpetrator's family, to be honest with you, because sometimes they're never going to get any of the information because nobody wants them to know anything. My suggestion would definitely be to have, especially in something this high profile. What do you guys think?
Hiring an attorney? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Because
you guys,
of course,
it's weird that a victim's family would hire an attorney.
No, not, and certainly I don't think it's weird that this family hired an attorney, especially witnessing what kind of family they are. And I mean that in the most positive, beautiful way. They are extraordinarily close. They seem like, to me, a united front, and they need to be protected. And I wish, like you said, everybody did this. I really do. I wish all families did this because, and I won't say which case or who, what, where, when, but I can tell you that one of the cases that we worked on, and I'm still friends with the people, people come after you for the weirdest things. And they will try and sue for wrongful death and things like that when you really have nothing at all to do with it. You're just a victim's family, who the victim had nothing to do with anything. But people are crazy. And so, everyone's so happy they get, weird things happen. So I always encourage a lawyer because, like you said, they speak the language, they know what's good and what's not good. And if you notice, her family has not spoken up. I mean, little bits here and there on social media, but really more than anything to shut things down, not speak out on any behalf of anything. So I think it's,
her sister's more just advocated for, one, finding her, and then two, trying to help raise money to bury her own sister after they buried her niece, and a couple of years ago buried her sister-in-law. So, and then Mike makes a comment like, just remember it, like they didn't find her. If like his stepdaughter didn't find her, the storms came, and that would have washed away all the, it may not have washed away all of it because we don't know exactly where they got the DNA on the body. It could have, if there was a sexual assault, they could have been able to have that, but there's a lot of evidence that may have been washed away because we don't know what they have. And you're not wrong. I don't think anybody's upset that you guys found her. I think that they don't want that information out there. They were trying to keep it close to, what do they call, close to the vest, and so that's why they're not denying it. But like I said, so some of the interviews we're going to play, it's going to be interesting. But I'm going to let this one finish, like I said, just because it is important that he's, he is connected to the family and what he says. So.
Well, and the colonel just made news as well by saying that her boyfriend, Richard Tobin, very new boyfriend, is out of the realm of suspicion at this point. Was there a time the family thought it might be him? Because that's typically how investigations begin, with people closest to the victims.
The thing about this family is that they didn't want to cast aspersions upon anyone. They wanted to be supportive of law enforcement and cooperate, but they weren't going to interject their opinions of who may or may not have done it. They're allowing law enforcement to do that job, and as a result of it, have stayed away from that.
I want to show that video one more time. I'm going to ask our control room to run the pictures of the suspect in the California home invasion. There it is again, with that description. Let me read the description again. Low to mid-20s in age, 5'9", 160 pounds, Hispanic male, and it is, you got to just look at the way he walks. That's not something I can describe to you. You can just look at it. If you are across this country right now, somewhere between Los Angeles and Maryland, that's a lot of terrain. Take a close look. And if you think you know who this person might be, please call 410-836-7788 or 410-836-5438.
Okay, now let me actually pull the clip that I meant to play. Unless you guys have any comments
Colonel William
before
Davis,
that.
the man you just saw in that press conference.
You guys have any comments before we play the next one?
Joining me now is Colonel William Davis, the man.
Just that she's wearing beige and not white, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, now that that's clarified, here we go. I'll play this one.
You just saw in that press conference. He's the chief deputy of Harford County Sheriff's Office. Colonel, we were talking last night and you hinted that you were going to have some information very soon. It turned out it was within a matter of, well, it was within 24 hours. So I'm really glad to have you back tonight. Thank you for doing this. Is there anything else you can tell us about the man you showed in that video?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I could add. You did a pretty good description of everything we're trying to get out there, especially the part where you said we're focusing on a lot of our deployment, trying to make people feel safe on the Mom Pa Trail because that's where this crime occurred. However, he was in March, he was in California, and in August, he was here. He could be anywhere in the country right now, and he still may be here. So we're trying to get that video out as far out as we possibly can, because we feel confident that if somebody knows him, if they're familiar with him, even though it's just a side and a back view of him, all the things you pointed out, his gait, the way he walks, all those things, if you know him, you're going to be able to identify him. And we're hoping that somebody will give us that information. And, last night, when I was talking to you, go ahead. Last night when I was talking to you, we had just received that video and we were trying to work our way through it, and we were discussing it, and the sheriff was adamant. He said, yeah, let's try to run down our investigation as best we can, but he was adamant, we need to get that video out as soon as possible. And then tonight was the time we were putting it out.
Well, I'm glad that we've got it tonight to show our viewers, because we are a national program. So I'm not sure if I heard you correctly. We know about Los Angeles.
Oh, God, Ashley.
We know about Rachel Morin's assault in Maryland. Do you know of any other locations or any other crimes where CODIS may have hit a DNA profile where he has been? Or do you have any suspicions of where else he's been?
No, that is the only locations we know for sure. But I mean, it's common sense that if he did an assault like that in California, and then all the way across the country here, a few months later, he's doing another assault. I mean, chances are those aren't the only 2 times he was involved in an assault like that.
Can I ask you about the assault in California? Was it a sexual assault in California?
We're going to leave that to the Los Angeles Police Department to talk about their case. I can just say, like, kind of what I said in the press conference, that it was a home invasion and that he did assault a young girl in the house there.
And what age are we talking about? How old was the young girl in the house?
I don't want to talk about their victims, and I want to let them decide what they want to put out about that, honestly, at this point in time.
The only reason I ask is it might help with someone who might recognize that door, might know of a certain person at that house that fits that age description. Just anything that can help jar people's thoughts and memories as to who he might be and where he's leaving. They might know something about that location.
So I'm going to pause here because as much as I used to really love Ashley Banfield through Idaho 4, she really just kind of, she turned me in a different direction. But she has a very valid point here, which is one of the reasons that I would like to know more about what happened in LA. Because if this person lives in that specific area, then somebody may actually know who he is. And so they're like, okay, yeah, South Central. Okay, that's like 11.5 square miles. So why can't we know more about the situation is where I'm kind of, we don't have to know her name.
Or like the extent of actually what happened. We don't need to know that. It's more of just what they're telling us is not vibing with the video that we're also being shown. And so for us, it's like, it's if you were to just see this video, it looks more like there's a higher probability that this person could be known in this case, and we now know that this person potentially unalived Rachel. So why would we not want to look more into this? Because at this point, this looks like it's the best bet on who's going to figure out who he is.
I agree. That's the connecting thing that we have. It's the only thing we have.
So Mystic Reference is like, so call LA and ask about like the details. So now that we know where the vicinity is and what district it is, because that's one of the things that happened when we were watching the press conference, is like, they're like LAPD. Like, okay, great. LAPD's huge. Like, you can't just go around calling LAPD. Like, it's not, they don't have like a direct line to like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to figure out like the district and go from there. So we do have more information to be able to hopefully narrow it down. And I'll make the call.
Yeah, T will make the call.
This isn't a trailer park. This is a neighborhood for sure, Allie. This is, and welcome, by the way. Hi. This is definitely a neighborhood. This is how most of the neighborhoods looks like. That's a house right there. That's a house right there. This is a house. The next to them is probably another house, but this is a sliding gate. It slides over here to the right. This is definitely a front yard. Now, could it be a house that has apartments in the back? That is possible. There are neighborhoods that have like your front house and then you have like the back built up where you can actually rent out spaces. But this is definitely a front yard right here, and definitely definitely a house, not an apartment, not a trailer park. me see. I don't know if I missed anything else real quick. So what? He just vanished into the dark. Did they not investigate? That's why I'm wondering if it was called in immediately or later on. Well, I wish we knew, K-Braze.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked that they have not released a statement about the circumstances surrounding this. They made a Facebook post that just says, yeah, we're working with Maryland, basically, and we know that this happened. Hey, crazy mama. The front door is a newer front door. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not the front doors that were put on when these houses are built. Mystic Fire, that's actually a good question. Was it? I think he's saying that it's not currently. It's not there now. They would have taken it. He is also barefoot. So this is something I went back and forth about. Was he carrying his shoes, Paula, or was he? Did it just was? I could not figure it out 100%. One time I looked at a frame, it looked like he had his shoes on. The other time I looked, it looked like just socks.
Well, and I've seen lots of people who are potentially taking still shots off of this, of shoes that he's carrying, and they literally have them to the screenshot of the type of shoe it is. Where for me, I look at it and I'm like, I can't even tell if that's a shoe.
I saw that too, and I was very, very confused by that.
Yeah.
The initial time that they showed it during the press conference, I swore he was carrying shoes, a shirt, and a sweatshirt. That was my initial response to it. I was like, he's got his shoes in his hand. And then he walked down the steps, and I was like, wait a minute, does he actually have his shoes on? And then I went back and forth. But my initial instinct was that he had his shoes in his hand. So that's interesting. Okay, let me finish this one then. Hey, Tony. Hey, Anna. Spicy Sugar. Spicy Sugar says he's carrying his shoes.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I got to leave that to Los Angeles. I know they're working on their case out there, and I don't want to say anything about their case. It's their case.
I respect that. Can you tell me about the DNA that you found at Rachel Morin's crime scene?
I don't really, because as we talked about the last couple of times I talked to you, we don't want to talk about where the evidence was recovered, what it was recovered from, because again, the suspect knows where we got that DNA, and we want it to just be us and him and knows where that DNA came from until we get him in custody.
And I'd be remiss if I don't do my job by asking difficult questions like this next question, and that is, was Rachel sexually assaulted?
Yeah, again, I appreciate, you have to ask it, everybody does. But as we talked about, we don't want to say anything about what happened at that crime scene, because again, the suspect knows and we know at this point in time.
And do you think, Colonel, that Rachel knew her killer, or do you think this was a random selection?
Through our investigation throughout last night and today, when we got that video, we haven't been able to determine that she knew her. We are going under the belief that it was a unknown. He was unknown to her, and she was unknown to him, and it was a random attack there on the trail. So we're going with that. Just telling our citizens and our community to use caution when they're out in the community, not just on the trail, as we've talked about many times. Make sure you have your cell phone with you, but don't be engrossed in the cell phone. If you're going to wear headphones when you're out exercising, as many people do, don't have them turned up all the way where you can't hear what's around you. And most importantly, if you see something that you think is suspicious or something just doesn't feel right to you, act on those instincts and, one, get away, and two, call 911 and let us know.
Thank you for watching. Go to
That little clip at the end is probably the most irritating part about News Nation that I'll ever just thank you for watching. Yeah, thank you for watching. And they all do it.
It's like, thank you for watching.
It's so irritating to me. And I can only tell you so much of News Nation is involved with the Idaho 4 case, and how many clips I had to pull from News Nation that I'm like, how many times am I going to have to hear? And thank you for watching. Like, oh.
I used to love her. I really did. I used to love her. And now I'm like, oh my God, Ashley, stop talking.
See, I don't even say her name anymore. It's just Beigefield.
Beigefield.
So
Yeah, Beigefield. So Linda says, do they know who the DNA belongs to? No, they do not know who the person is. They know that this is apparently the same person based on the DNA match, but they don't know who he is. I'm very curious why there's obviously a witness, why we don't have a sketch, why they're not putting out more information about this LA crime in hopes that they would have something to offer. So as I said, you're going to get more information when I play some of the stuff that happened last time. I'm just kind of I'm getting there so that you guys don't miss all the things that I was listening to that got me to the last point. So just bear with me while we get there. Mike says, I don't like mainstream media. Now, I don't think many of us are big fans of mainstream media now, especially because we've done so much of our own research into cases. And then when we watch stuff on mainstream media, we're like, that's not true. And that's not true. We know this, and we know this, and we know that. And or dates are wrong, or the person is the wrong. It's so irritating. So here's a question before we move on to the next video. Do you guys believe that he is still in the area of Bel Air, Maryland?
I think it depends. I think it's gonna end up depending on if he's from Maryland and was traveling to LA, or if he was from LA traveling to Maryland, or if he's potentially travels for work and is everywhere else. So I think if he's potentially from Maryland and like that's his home base, then I don't think he actually went anywhere. But if it's the other way around, or if he travels for work, then I think he's gone.
Okay. Tia?
I agree. I agree 100% with Mallory, but also I do not. I don't know. I just don't think he's here. I think he took off. But I'm also trying. I mean, I'm trying to work through. The guy's a thief, so he doesn't have any money.
Is he a thief though?
He's breaking into homes.
Actually stealing anything. The home invasion could be because, like we talked
about. Oh, that's
about,
true. Okay, fair enough.
We don't know that he stole anything.
You're right.
I mean, the guy's not walking out with anything good except for what it looks like is his own shit.
You're right. You're absolutely. Well, we don't know. You're right, and I shouldn't speculate on that. So that's actually very fair. I don't know. I do not think he's in the area. How about if I go with that? I do not think he's in the area. But I agree with Mallory. Like, if he's a local, it could, it depends on where he's from. I think that's the issue. I think it depends on where he's from. If he's from LA, I think he crawled back in to whatever hole he crawled out of. If he's here, then he's hiding in that hole. I think it's
important. What if he's not from either one? What if he is a traveling worker, like some people in chat are saying, and he does, and he's committing these types of crimes as he's out visiting places that he doesn't live, so then people don't recognize that it would be him.
Then I think there's going to be a lot more places that are going to come up with cold cases that are potentially linked to him.
I was going to say, I think it's important to remember, and this goes with what Mallory said, I think it's important to remember what the sheriff said, and that is this guy has no regard for human life. So he's extraordinarily dangerous in that aspect. It also makes me think that this isn't his first rodeo. And the person in LA is probably very lucky. I hate saying that because
absolutely agree.
We don't know
at this point.
And I just hope that person's protected.
Well, see, that's the flip side of the whole thing, and I think that's what they think that they're doing is trying to protect this person because this guy's still out there. If she comes forward and starts ranting and raving about what he did, or where he did it, or why he did it, then does he come? And if he is back in LA, does he come back for her or her family? So that's the flip side of trying to figure out anything else about the LA crime. By figuring it out, are we putting somebody else in danger, or does it actually help to try to find the person? This was the same question I had when they were releasing it. Is this going to help or hurt her?
Second funny said, since when did they collect DNA on a non-SA and how? Cigarette butts, coffee cups, touch DNA, and I mean, gazillions of different ways now. Luckily, I say that we have those gazillions of different ways. Because we don't know what happened with, like, we have less than 10% of what happened to Rachel as far as information goes. We have less than 10%. And we don't know how much police has. We don't know if they have 50% of the information or 100% of the information. So that's what I hate. As much as I hate speculation, I loathe speculating. That's all we can do with this. And it drives me nuts. And I think that's why I keep going back to the trails, to just kind of like make it make sense.
Especially because it is your area.
Yeah.
It's your home, and it doesn't make sense. It's definitely not, it's not normal. It's not of your normal whatsoever. So somebody in chat was talking about if this guy looks like he works out, does he actually have a gym membership? Would they be able to go and say, like, hey, like, did he follow her from the gym and like was like, hey, I'm gonna like he picked her? I mean, I think that's a good lead. I know that recently they've talked about that they're going through all the surveillance from anything around that area of Ma and Pa Trail and trying to get a better visual of him. I don't know. Somebody said they think he's in the military. So military has to give their DNA, but it doesn't go into CODIS. It goes into a military database that isn't accessible without a lot more work. That doesn't say that they can't access it if they actually end up with a lead that could bring them there, but it's not just for that database is not for the public's use or for Ellie's use necessarily. It's for the military in case they have, unidentified remains from war or battle or anything like that.
I know, Johnny. I was there yesterday and it freaked me out, my dude. It really did.
You missed your story.
Yeah, you have to rewind for the story. I also, the other reason I drove around to try and look at the different areas that they were in that day is check out red light cameras and like traffic cameras. So there's lots, and you can look them up and you can see them. I can send you the link for that, T, if you want, and Mallory, of course. But visually, I wanted to see, and there's quite a few. So I'm sure that they're going through those videos as well, since they have the time frame.
Right. So the trail itself does not have any security cameras yet. But now that this has happened, the Parks and Rec people are putting in cameras. They're just not there yet. So the surveillance that I'm talking about is from the houses, the businesses, and the apartment complex. I just want to make sure that's clear to everybody, that there's not any camera on the actual trail itself.
That's correct. I don't want to, no, I'm not saying that. I was saying when I drove around yesterday, I was looking for, I don't want to say that. That's not what I'm saying. I was looking for traffic cameras just to see, like,
if there are.
Yeah.
It's a good thought. Okay, I'm going to play this one. Unless you guys have anything else you want to say before we start this one.
Nope.
Okay.
I want to welcome in now a very special guest to join us live. The man you just saw in that press conference during our 7 p.m. hour, Colonel William Davis, the Chief Deputy with the Harford County Sheriff's Office. Colonel, first of all, thank you so much for your time. I know you and your colleagues are very busy. And might I just start by saying bravo.
with this fast work in this big revelation with that video you were able to share with the world tonight. Tell us, please, our courties are very invested in this case and want to see justice for Rachel Morin and her family. What can they do tonight to help you solve this case, please?
So when we got the evidence from the LAPD with the video that we showed earlier at our press conference, and the Sheriff Gaylor, when he saw the video, he was adamant because we have to get that video out to our community. We need to make sure our community is informed of who this possible suspect is, and then we also wanted to share it. Obviously, this has gotten international attention, so we wanted to share it around the country and around the world because obviously he was in California in March and he was here in Maryland in August. So there's a whole country between there where he might have been committing crimes. So we're hoping that somebody will watch that video. We know it's a side profile and then it has his body, but we're thinking that somebody who knows him will be able to recognize him from that video and hopefully come forward with a name and identity of that suspect.
Exactly, Colonel. I know our courties will share it again and study it and screen grab still shots from it and look closely at that video. And so this is where he's leaving the home of that child in California that police say he assaulted there. And it's your belief that he assaulted Rachel Morin based on the DNA. What wonderful technology we have nowadays using the CODIS system. I know you haven't said much because of the fear of compromising the investigation with Rachel Morin's death. And we certainly understand that and we respect that here. I just have to ask, and you tell me what you can tell us, please, Colonel. Can you tell us, was there a sex assault or does there appear to have been an attempted sex assault on Rachel Morin?
I understand why you asked that question. And as I've said in pretty much every interview that I have done, we're not going to release that information right now because, again, we want to make sure that the only people that know what happened to Rachel at that time when she was murdered are us and the suspect. And then, of course, after hopefully we catch this guy and we get him in custody, we'll be able to release more information about that then.
Right. We certainly respect that. I completely get it, Colonel. I used to serve as a prosecutor. A lot of people wondering if there was a weapon used to kill her or if she was killed in a violent assault just with someone's fists. Are you able to share anything regarding that tonight?
Unfortunately, I'm getting pretty good at saying, no, I can't talk about that right now. And I'm going to have to say it again now because, I mean, you said it. You understand why it's important that we don't put that information out until we get this person
I
in
certainly
custody.
get it. Is there anything else?
I will say that he is a very violent person.
Very violent, yeah.
I will say he was a very violent person.
Right, right. I remember when the news first broke and your department had said this was a very violent homicide. Of course, our stomachs are turning just imagining how this beautiful young woman was killed. Her kids, she leaves behind 5 children. I know they range in ages. If you know, Colonel, do you know how they're doing tonight or who might be caring for them at this time?
I mean, obviously, they're struggling with the loss of their mother. We met with the family today and informed them of this information that we got. We showed them the evidence that we had before we did the press conference. And all the kids are being taken care of by their remaining family.
Every good wish, our hearts go out to all of those children and everyone who loved her so much. You had mentioned, you touched on this a little in the press conference, and I wondered if you could address perhaps this now. The idea that this seems to be more of a random act of violence versus somebody who knew her. Is that right, Colonel?
Well, obviously, when this incident first happened, there was a lot of attention, especially on social media, targeting that everybody believed that her current boyfriend at the time was the suspect. We believe this DNA evidence rules him out of that. And so we don't know whether it was random. We have no information as far as our investigation goes that this suspect was known to Rachel or that he knew Rachel. So we're going to err on the side of caution and believe that and put it out there that our community needs to be cautious, pay attention to their surroundings, As I said in the press conference, don't be engrossed in your cell phone. Don't have your headphones turned up so loud that you can't hear what's going on around you, and just pay attention to your surroundings. And we're going to have as much deployment out there as possible to try to keep the community safe. But the one thing I want to say is, you know, this incident occurred on the Mom Pa Trail, and the incident in LA occurred in a home. So as much as we're keeping the Mom Pa Trail safe, if this guy's still out there in our community, and we don't know if he's still here or he has left, but this type of assault with him could occur anywhere.
I appreciate you saying that, Colonel. I think that's really important as we have many viewers in Maryland where you are. Many of them reached out on Facebook as we've been covering this story and said, what a nice area this is. The Bel Air area is so nice. And this is just shaken the whole community, understandably so. So that advice really rings true for everyone, no matter what community you're in. As you said, we don't know whether this guy had the means to travel anywhere or did travel, or whether he has ties anywhere, right? You don't know tonight whether he's got ties to the Maryland community where this occurred or not, right?
Right. That's absolutely right. And because of his Hispanic descent, you know, we're working with our Hispanic community leaders here in hopes that maybe they know him, or they may be able to help us identify who he is. So yeah, he could be anywhere right now, anywhere in the country, really.
That's wonderful. You're working with them. I'm sure they're going to want to help you out. In studying that video, Colonel, because I'm sure everyone's going to want to look at it closely, try to pause it, zoom in. Have your investigators picked up on any other details, any tattoos or scars or anything about him that could also lead to identification that our viewers should know about tonight?
Yeah, obviously we've played that video 1,000 times, and really the only identifying things that we really can see in the video, it appears that he's wearing what looks like possibly a gold chain. We're trying to get information if there is any kind of a pendant on that gold chain, but right now we don't have that. It doesn't appear that he has any tattoos, but as you can see in the video, he also appears to be in pretty good physical shape. Mm-hmm. So we're acting on that as well as for places we're going to go and look for him. And it's hard to tell, but as many times as we looked at it, whether or not he possibly has facial hair or not,
it is hard to tell, right? And the hair could be different too, seeing as how that was March. You know, here we are in August, so his hair could be a little longer, right, than it is in that video. It looks like he's got kind of a faded cut, a little shorter on the sides, longer on the top.
Right.
Is there anything else that you think we should be asking you tonight that you can possibly answer for us, Colonel? You've been so gracious with your time, and we understand you've got to protect the investigation and get this crime solved.
No, just again, I mean, we appreciate you having us on and highlighting this case so that the video is shared around as much as possible, so that it's only going to take one person who really knows him to identify him. And we just want people to share that video and help us try to find out who he is. Absolutely. We have other investigative leads that we're running down trying to identify him, but you know, we struggled on whether to put the video out or hold on to it until we can try to figure more information out. But the sheriff was very adamant, and he's right. We have to get it out to the community so they are aware of what this guy looks like in case they see him.
That was a great call. Oh, we will share it. Our viewers will share it. I promise you that. Please let us know.
Okay, so there's a couple things in this interview that I found particularly interesting. One, she refers to her as Little, as the victim in LA, and he does not correct that. He doesn't say not Little. So I thought that was interesting. And then he says, like, I can't even quote it now. I should have stopped it when he said it. But he says something about, like, yeah, this guy could be anywhere. And then she goes, that's wonderful. What?
Like sarcastic.
No, she's just like, that's wonderful, like that you're in communication with, because it was like he made a statement that had two parts in the whole thing, and he was like, you know, this guy could be anywhere, so like we're working with so and so and so and so, and she's like, that's wonderful, and she's of course saying like that's wonderful, but it struck me as very odd, like it's wonderful. I was like, what are you what's wonderful here?
This is not a good feel-good story, madam.
No, but it's also interesting. Like so many people in chat are like, how many more crimes is this guy gonna commit before he's even caught? And here's the thing: if he has an idea that his days are numbered, as we're saying, that's going to put him in a place where he could potentially try to hide and just lay low for a while, or it could push him over the edge and he's just like, F it, I'm going to do whatever I want to do before I get caught.
Well, knowing that the FBI are involved now and that U.S. Marshals are involved, I'm hoping that the search will be brief. I'm hoping that he can be sniffed out pretty quickly, but I don't know. I mean, we don't have anybody to put on the 10 most wanted.
Right.
We don't have a face.
Right.
We have a face, but we don't have
Other
a
than
name.
DNA.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
then we can go back to the live I had yesterday on investigative genetic genealogy. Is this somebody that would people be comfortable using, investigative genetic genealogy to figure out who this guy is, so he isn't out there committing more crime?
That was a great live, by the way.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what if he left the country? And then another gentleman, Mike, came in and was like, hey, why isn't there a sketch? We were just talking about that. Why isn't there a sketch from this girl in LA? And Mountain Girl, you're the third person who's come in and said that this victim is 9 years old. I don't know where that's coming from. Can anybody give me a source on where this victim being 9 years old is? Because that's just, I'm so lost on where that's coming from. I don't know. And then somebody else came in and said, nope, that's a different case. So I don't have an educated comment on that because I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from. Hey, Inspector Gadget.
See, I haven't heard an age. I've only heard young person, young girl. I've not heard an age at all. So I'd love to hear where they're getting it from.
I don't know. So last night or yesterday, Nancy Grace with her podcast had on the sheriff, the one that was in the original press conferences, the one that is from his house actually backs up to the Ma and Pa Trail.
Sheriff Gaylor.
Yeah, the local detective stated last night on STS. What's STS, Mom doing, Angel? What's STS?
Surviving the Survivors. Was he a local detective? Because that Joe guy is out of New York. So
let's go look and see what that's about, because I've not heard that until I went live today. Let's see.
Melissa, they're actually working on a reward.
They are working on one. I did see that. Hey, Angelina.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, True Crime Madness. Hi, everybody popping in. I got the information from Surviving This. Lots of good info on that show. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Was it alive?
I think it was yesterday.
The hunt for Rachel Morin's killer intensifies, is what I'm assuming. It's probably this one. You guys are saying it's from yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It was last night. It was early evening.
Their whole live, but I want to see if they talk about. So who's the local detective then? This Joseph guy?
He's retired from New York, I thought. He's not local.
Yeah, he's not local.
Mm-mm.
Do they have another guest that comes on?
No, Joe was at the walk, but again,
he was.
He's not a local. He came and left. There was also a retired detective from Baltimore. Okay.
Hey guys, before we get into this, I'm gonna jump down. I gotta go take care of Dexter. But thank you for having me. I'll be listening.
Oh yeah, of course, anytime.
Mallory, we'll be watching you Thursday.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll probably reach out to you beforehand to talk to your husband.
Yay! Gravy.
And you, of course. But
Of course.
bye, guys. Thank you. I'll be listening.
Bye, Mel.
Bye.
Okay, so I'm assuming it's this live. You guys are saying there was also a retired detective from Baltimore. Well, this one only has like a couple of chicks on it. Was it a girl? They don't have another guest on this one. I just want to make sure. I'm going to send over the link so that anybody that wants to watch it can. Somebody just tell me that it's the one that says the hunt for Rachel Morin's killer intensifies, and I'm going to share the link. So
I'm looking right now, too.
He does. He has a lot of
saw
guests on the show, but I haven't watched this one. So, but that guy's I thought he was New York. I didn't know he was actually Baltimore. So that's another.
I thought he was New York. That's what I was under the impression.
Okay, well, I'm going to share that live. It'll at least take you guys to the channel. Surviving the Survivor. It's probably this one. So I'll go back and I'll listen to this one tonight. But before we finish up, I want you guys to hear the few clips that I grabbed from Nancy Grace. So if you guys, Nancy Grace has the podcast that you can listen to. You can also watch it on, what is it, Fox Nation. I don't subscribe to Fox Nation, so I couldn't actually watch it, but I did. So I screen recorded a few clips that I thought were important. There were 3 guests: Joe Ramos, the detective from Baltimore, and Barbara Ventris. Okay, so it is not this one then. But this was from yesterday. Either way, it'll send you to the channel, so at least you guys can go over there and maybe find the video. And if one of my mods ends up figuring out which one it is, then you guys are welcome to drop it too. Okay, so at least we know where we can go to figure that out. Like I said, I have not listened to it, so I don't know what it is. But what I am going to play for you guys is Nancy Grace. She had the sheriff on, the one that was in the original press conference, who said that his house actually backs up to the Monpont Trail. So this is just a couple, I think I recorded three clips. So I'm just going to play them for you guys, and then we can talk about them. So let me know if you guys can hear it okay.
But I believe that's the information we received from the Los Angeles Police Department.
Let's take a look at the video. He's opening up the door of the home of the victim. I think that he raped. He's leaving. He doesn't even have his shirt on. Man, could you at least get dressed before you leave? It's in a residential neighborhood. It's in the evening. Don't know what time. It's a female victim. The MO is different because here he's gone into the home and he has, I believe, raped a female victim. We're hearing assault, but we know that there's DNA, and that makes me think that it's sperm. So was it a rape, Sheriff Giller?
I'm not going to, because, there's still part of the active investigation, other than what we've released, which are spot on, a home invasion with an assault. We're not covering, I'm not at liberty to go into any other details, but it certainly, his actions there are similar, to some of the MO that we have here. I'll just leave it at that.
Exactly. Okay. And I, of course, do not want to in any way impede the investigation or harm the integrity of the investigation. So when you finally, God willing, get to trial, you can be accused of spouting out information that's privy to the case.
We want to give our investigators every opportunity to, to keep it to what needs to be kept out of the public for right now. But while we still share what we can to help us bring this person into custody. And again, you touched on the thing about traveling. We don't know whether he lives there and was just visiting out here, or whether he was visiting out there when he committed that crime in March and lives out here, or any combination thereof. He could live in Ohio and just have visited both places to commit these acts. So until we know who he is, we don't know what part of the country he is hanging his hat.
No, Sheriff, I don't think he visited one of the two places just to commit the act. I think he's a predator. He happened to be in LA for whatever reason. I don't think he went there just to assault. I'll say assault because we don't know if it was a rape or a sodomy. We don't know if it was touch DNA somewhere in the home. But we know there was a home invasion and there was an assault on a female victim in LA, and that there's DNA. We know that in Bel Air, Maryland, it's a completely different scenario, different MO, modus operandi, method of operation. He's out on a hiking trail. He sees a lone female, and I'm assuming the female in LA was alone. Don't know her age. But he sees a female alone and he pounces. And he, I believe, raped Rachel Morin and murdered her. I know you're not going to tell me whether she was raped or not, but we're getting DNA from somewhere. Plus, we know that she was naked and lying on her back, or so we've been told. So, straight to Dr. Monty Miller, Director, Forensic DNA Experts, LLC.
We haven't released any of those investigative details, and we know some of the information out there is accurate. We know some of it is not accurate, and I wish I could clarify which is which, but you're 100% right. I mean, but DNA can be left in many different ways, and I am thankful that it was, I'd rather have this guy's name and face straight on, but I'm thankful that LA detectives out there took that case seriously. They did a good investigation, which included the collection of DNA at the scene and has put back a tie. So much of policing used to be just cops and robbers, but now without our civilian forensic experts and the people, the science part of this thing, we'd be nowhere in this investigation, and that is important to note. But again, I hate to be the guest who kind of has the facts in his head, but is not free to share them. But that's unfortunately where I find myself as I listen to the other callers.
You know what's interesting? I'm taking from what you said, I'm interpreting that we got one of those facts wrong. Maybe it's the rock. Maybe she wasn't naked. Maybe she wasn't on her back. Maybe there wasn't a rape. We got something wrong, but we got something right. But since the sheriff, Jeffrey Geller, refuses to play 21 questions with me, I'm going to go forward with what I do know. And you know what this?
Okay, so she's asking some questions here, and he obviously won't answer all of them, but he does tell her, like, there's some things that you're saying that are correct and some things that you're saying that are not correct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I found that very interesting.
I also like Johnny Blackhawk's comment of wouldn't this spook the guy? I wondered that too. Like, giving too much information spooks the guy, not giving enough spooks the public. Where's the line?
You're stuck.
Where's the line?
Well, that's kind of what we were talking about with this whole LA case. It's like, is this worse for that victim? Is this better for that victim?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And damn Nixie, we're gonna have a fight. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, Marshall. Yeah, me too. Okay, so this last clip was probably the most important that I grabbed, that will answer some of our questions about the LA situation.
Reminding me of Jackie. Let's take a listen to our.
About 30 minutes north of Baltimore, and not known for low crime and a safe community. So yeah, it's not generally where we have stuff like this, but not generally if you're going around the country, you kind of have to explain where it is in relation to Baltimore because people just don't know where we're located.
You know what's interesting, Sheriff Geller? Everybody jump in. Jessica, Garth, this is right up your alley. In the LA case, where we believe the killer's DNA, I'm looking at the video over and over and over. Somebody follows him to the door and they shut the door behind him. I'm not sure who that is, but it looks like a female hand shutting the door behind him. That victim lived. This victim did not. I'm curious about the differences in the attacks, the method of operation, Sheriff Geller. What do you make of it?
No, again, it's something that a lot of people have brought to our attention that we know is there. We know that there's an arm there, that somebody closes the door behind the suspect leaving. And again, it's not what you would expect, not what a seasoned police officer would expect. Someone leaving the scene of a crime, the home invasion and an assault, to be casually walking out with his clothes tucked under his arm, and the door being shut behind him. But our investigators continue to work the case hard to try to make sense of what doesn't make sense by appearances, and hopefully, the investigation will explain all of those things out in time. But the main thing that's needed at this point is figuring out who this guy is.
Is that victim a minor? Was she a minor at the time of the attack, Sheriff, in LA?
Yes. Yes.
So,
There you go.
She was a minor.
So he answers it. Says she was a minor. Now, we don't know what that means, as in, is it a 9-year-old? That's just beyond bizarre to me that it would be a 9-year-old. I can't even imagine how this whole situation would have gone down at that point. Or was she, 16, 17?
Let me ask you a question really quick, Teresa. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but you know the laws. Especially, oh God, now I just lost my train of thought. What was the laws? And my train of thought was, see, this is why I can't read chat and chew gum.
I'm the same.
I was going to ask you why, perhaps maybe it's because it wasn't reported to police, but why hasn't the district attorney or someone else pressed charges even though the family didn't? What's the rule? When does that happen?
You're talking about for the case in LA?
Yeah. Yes.
They don't know his name. You can't really press charges against him. So that's one thing that they're talking about, like local media is kind of presenting, is that it is possible for law enforcement to go to the grand jury and indict the DNA itself. Right. So the owner of the DNA would be indicted. So then that way, right. So when it would stop basically the statute of limitations, because like we were saying, like Rachel's doesn't have one because murder doesn't have a statute of limitations, but the home invasion and the assault in LA does. So they could indict the DNA. So
I'm just questioning, when does the district, generally speaking, not in this case, but when does the state take over a case? You know how sometimes you'll have a case where somebody will say, no, I don't want to press charges. And the state will say, too late, we're already working on it.
Something along these lines, like a burglary or home invasion, they don't have to, it's not necessarily they have to press charges. It's going to depend on if the state chooses to or not. They can also take the advice of the person that says that, they don't want. That was interesting. My computer started ringing. They could take if the person doesn't want to, they could take that into consideration, but that's not actually going to make it so that they don't.
Okay.
So this is another thing. So if the parents come home, so this throws me into the whole thing. If the parents come home and they find that this 20-something-year-old guy is with their 16-year-old daughter, then explain to me where it's coming out that this was at 3:20 a.m. Where the hell are the parents at 3:20 a.m.? You see what I mean? Like, this is that's when none of it makes any sense to me. Squeaky wheel, you're basically saying the same thing. Yeah, if they're coming, but where are they at 3:20 in the morning that they're coming home and figuring this out? Because if that's when the crime actually occurred,
or did she sneak him in at some point while the parents were asleep? Maybe.
Now, let's also talk about if this other show, The Surviving the Survivor, with that interview, if the person is 9, then none of that is happening. This person's not 9 years old and sneaking some guy into her parents' house in the middle of the night. I mean, I guess it could, but reality is that statistically that would be very, very low.
Right.
So, I don't know. So, I don't know. The whole LA thing is just really bothering me. It just doesn't add up to the same looking type of situation that is with Rachel's. And obviously people escalate. Criminals escalate their behavior. That's not uncommon.
That's quite an escalation. Not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying.
Was there an intent here to do something worse and come in and find him and they're like, oh, hell no, you get the hell out of here? And what parents would leave the 9-year-old home alone, right, Queen? Yeah, and I could see a young teen making online content. Yeah, I don't. It just the whole LA thing is really just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, and I want to show you guys one other thing before we wrap it up with final thoughts. So this was dropped to me yesterday. So this is another article from KTLA. This is a woman who was assaulted on an Orange County hiking trail down in Mission Viejo. And for those that aren't familiar, that would be, I think I still have my map up. I can kind of show you how far that is. So we were talking like this central area right here is your South Central LA area, right? And then you want to go down, you'd go down to like Mission Viejo is in here. So not far, but so it makes it kind of interesting with the MO.
How long would it take to drive there? Do you know?
It's saying that is kind of difficult because it depends on what time you're driving there. If you're trying to drive from LA to Mission Viejo at 5 o'clock on a Friday, you're going to be sitting in traffic for quite a while. If you're doing it in the middle of a night on a Saturday, I mean, you could get down there fairly quickly.
Okay.
You know, half hour, 45 minutes. So, I mean, that's relative because of LA traffic. So here, Orange County hiking trail, suspect is still at large. The female victim was walking her dog near the Norman P. Murray Center at 9:40 p.m. when a man suddenly approached her from behind. The suspect grabbed the woman around her waist and dragged her for about 2 feet. As the victim was screaming, she was able to push the suspect away and escape to her vehicle. She quickly drove away before contacting authorities. The victim said the suspect never said a word to her before or after the incident. Here is a composite sketch. And like I said, I'm showing this to you guys just because of just the similarity with the trail, and obviously sketches are exactly that. They're sketches. Our guy, I think his ears stick off a lot more, and like we were talking about, the first ones, it's very possible that he is like an MMA fighter. So, but he is described as a Hispanic male, around 30 to 40 years old, about 5 foot 8 inches tall, with a husky build. Just interesting. Yeah, I think our guy's definitely got bigger ears.
I think so too. Although I can get behind the strong jawline there.
Yes. But I mean, we can't see his face. And one of the things that I was also questioning during the, when we were looking at that video was, does he have facial hair? And then to come to find out, that's one of the things that even law enforcement is like, yeah, we can't actually tell if he has facial hair or not. So here, I was zooming in on my video, just trying to locate specific markers that would make sense. But we'll play it. We can play it a couple times. I don't know if I necessarily see cauliflower ears, but if when he's walking away, so something that does happen with a lot of fighters is that their ears do kind of start to stick out. Now he could just have ears that stick out. So, I mean, take that for what you want. See, I don't. Looking at it, I just cannot determine if I don't think he has shoes on. I think he's wearing socks.
That's what I think too.
So he gets booted out of the house in his joggers. No shirt, no sweatshirt. Let me try to find a good spot.
It doesn't appear as though that is a self-done haircut either. It looks like it's professionally done, right?
Correct. They said that this guy, probably that haircut, this is what the hair people were saying, is that this haircut is done within 2 weeks, and it's definitely done at like a barber shop.
Okay, that's what. Okay.
I'm not a hair person, so you would know better than me.
That's my opinion, but oh, funny. By the way, I got compliments on that. She went to get her hair did and colored, and I got compliments on the haircut. So I'll take that.
It looked really good. So I don't know. I mean, that's what they're saying. So, but now you're trying to go back and talk to people from March, being like, "Hey, did you cut this dude's hair in March, or February?" I don't know if you're going to get any answers now. He's holding black sneakers with a white logo on it. Slow the video down. Well, I agree with you. That's what I was thinking before. So it's like right here.
You can see that?
I did as soon as he's right here. See him right here on the bottom?
Oh.
You see this? It's a black sneaker with the white label on the back.
Okay.
It looks like he's carrying his shoes. But then part of the time when he was walking down the steps, and because obviously everything is so fast, it's like, did he have shoes on? Is that just socks? But that was my first instinct when I saw it, was like, oh, look, he's carrying his shoes right there.
Does he actually fist bump her? Like,
I cannot tell. It looks like his right arm touches her left hand in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to say for sure because it's behind the door, like the door jamb. But like right in here. And then he's going to turn and walk away. And then she closes the door.
Yeah, gosh. I agree, Johnny. I really agree. I wish they had a sketch.
Why don't they have a sketch? Oh, wait. He says, Google Christopher Edward. Let me see. Does he look that young, though? Because that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Edward.
I'm very confused on why they don't have a sketch and why this isn't a bigger deal. And like I said, we know so little about this connecting case with Rachel that I appreciate, and certainly, like, we as true crime, we want to know more, but we don't want to impede on the case, the family, the victim too much. But it is driving me a little nuts that this guy's still out there and we don't know any more than we did
right
when she passed.
So this hand right here has bracelets on it. I just want, you can see the glimmering right here.
I can see that.
This person that is from that Hughes was asking me to look at, this Christopher Edward person, this is an assault on a 9-year-old.
So is that where that is coming from? Is that the 9-year-old?
I don't know. That's why I said I haven't watched that other video, so to know what exactly, like, the words that were actually said. Edward exposed himself and assaulted the 9-year-old.
It is a tiny arm. I saw that too.
Yeah, that's definitely not this guy. So I'm wondering if that's a... Yeah, that's not this guy.
No.
No, not at all.
Okay.
This is an old doofus-looking white dude. Okay. So I'm wondering if that's the case that they're talking about then.
That could
LA,
be.
9-year-old. I don't know. I'm going to have to watch that other live. That's why I said I don't have an educated comment, so I can't really make one. He's not wearing socks, Don. You don't think he's wearing socks?
Oh, I thought he was wearing socks.
It looks like he's wearing white socks.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
You think he might be barefoot? Like right there. Doesn't look like white socks? What's in his pocket? A lot of people think it's a cell phone. I think it's either a cell phone or it's like a rag. And I know if C-Dub's still here, C-Dub's going to be like, it's a cell phone.
It does look like a cell phone.
Okay, let me see what else I missed in here. Oh, I still found him though, Hughes, even with the misspelling. It's still pulled up. Yeah, a lot of people think it's a cell phone in his pocket. Someone also said it looks like keys, like she handed him keys. I didn't see keys. I did see, when we looked at this the other night, there's like a spot like right in here where it almost looks like there could potentially be like some type of key right there. But you can't see what's happening in the house. Like right there, you see like you can almost see like maybe a key hanging. It's very, very small in this one, but we had it blown up the other night. Yeah, okay. I mean, I know C-Dub thinks it's a cell phone. I just said, like, I know that people in that area do carry, like, wipe rags, like sweat rags. So it's not uncommon for people to have, like, a rag. It typically hangs out of a back pocket, but he doesn't have a back pocket. So, yeah, no answers. No answers whatsoever. No sketch. They did confirm on Nancy Grace, though, they do not have another video. So that was another interesting thing to me. That was the second clip I played for you guys. He says that they wish they had another video, and if they did have one of his face, they would show it. So he's saying this is what there is. There is no other video of his face. So that's why they're going through all the surveillance in that area to try to figure out if they can get a better shot of his face. They don't have it yet, and he said if they get one, it will be immediately sent out to the public. So let me just check out chat real quick, see what you guys have to say. He's holding black sneakers with a white logo. Okay, I think I got there. That's where I was. Night Stalker hit house a few miles off our old house in Mission Viejo. Night Stalker would target yellow homes. Is that not another interesting thing? Night Stalker liked yellow houses. People who lived in yellow houses were petrified.
I'd be out there painting my house. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, he had a weird thing with yellow houses.
Yeah. Geofence at residents at the time. I know. This is why I'm so glad the FBI is involved. I want all of their gadgets and gizmos running. I want satellites to align. I want a CSI moment. That's what I want.
And you think the feet are the same color as his back? It's possible, and I'm not right. Like most people think it's a cell phone, like C-Dub. Maybe he doesn't have any socks on either.
I thought he was wearing white socks, but you might be right. I mean, the color is similar to his back. This is true.
C-Dub, my puppy who passed away years ago had to have insulin.
Aww.
You know, my son is, a type 1 diabetic, so he has insulin all day. It's not easy. Yeah, absolutely. Marshall said, I grew up in a yellow house. Okay, Johnny says it was a cell phone too. I'm just catching up on chat because I don't want to end with that if you guys have anything. His pants are falling off. That's not a surprise laughing stock. At least his pants are somewhat up, which is better than any. He easily could be out of the U.S. by now. Bernice, yeah. Why is my there it goes. Like, why is it not letting me click on that? He could be. They don't know who he is. They can't stop him from traveling. A lot of people think he's in the military. They think he has a military cut. I think a military cut's a little higher.
So do I.
I do. Yeah, it's not rounded typically. Like his is round.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to me, it's more fashionable and less military.
Yeah, I don't think it's less military to me too.
I live by military, so I see it constantly. I mean, I'm sure there's people in here who are military who can tell better, but I'm just at eyeballing. Could he have property wrapped up under his arm? That's what I thought too.
He could. Maybe he wrapped it in his coat or something, in his sweatshirt. But to me, that is a sweatshirt. You can see the sleeve, and you can see like the corner before like the zip, and then probably his shirt, and then he's carrying his shoes. That's what I think. And I think whatever happens, if she does hand him something, he reaches over to his right hand. So he's either putting that in his right hand, or he's taking something from his right hand. Hold on. Let me start that over because I just totally went backwards. whatever was in his right hand, he's either putting into his left hand, or he's grabbing something from his left hand that we then later see, which is possibly the key in his right hand. So, you think he's slightly bow-legged? Maybe. And then the angle of the camera, I mean, it does look like he has an incredibly long torso with tiny legs. But
at 5'9", I don't know how incredibly long it could be. He walks funny. He walks athletically.
He does. He walks like he works out.
Yeah.
At a gym. So, all right. So, final thoughts. What do you guys think? What do you think, Miss Tia? And then chat, what do you guys think? And then we're going to wrap it up.
I'd love to hear what chat thinks. I want this guy caught. I want to be fair, I want to be able to go to the trail and not be as scared as I was yesterday. That would be awesome. I want people to take their power back in our little town here, and I want to be able to go to the trail and not freak out like I did yesterday with 2 cops wandering out. Like, it's everyone's on edge. I want him caught before someone else gets hurt. He's still here, you think? Oh God. Johnny, I can't wait to talk to you. I want to hear your thoughts and feelings on this.
There's part of me that hopes he is still there.
Me too.
Only because I know that there's so many people in that area that would be looking for, that would be looking for this type, the person who looks like this, versus if he takes off to, like we were talking earlier, like Texas or Miami. People aren't going to be paying as much attention. They don't know exactly what happened. It's not hitting them close to home. And as we've learned through all these cases, not all locals even know what happened. So much less people around the country that would not be looking for him. So I part of me actually does kind of hope that he is still around there, because in a population of 10, 11,000 people, you guys might actually be able to find this guy. I'm not 100% that I think he's still there, though. I think he would have bounced. I mean, we don't know because we have no idea what his intelligence level is. He's obviously, it just concerns me, because if he knows everybody's onto him, what can he do? What would he do?
He's desperate right now. He's got an entire nation looking for him now. There are so many hiding spots, and there's so many. I agree. My girls can't even go to the playground. Oh. That sucks. I don't want anyone else hurt. I don't want anyone else hurt. I know you are, Johnny. I know you are. And I think there's a lot of healing that has to be done. And this guy with as violent as he is, just put him in a cage.
He destroyed it. He destroyed the peacefulness and the tranquility of a community that is not used to having this type of crime. You're right, and this is bigger than even just your family. Obviously, it hits them closest, but your whole community this isn't something that anybody's used to.
No. That's why people move out here, because it's suburbia. That's what this is. It is suburbia. It's a nice area, and what happened should not have happened to a beautiful woman. So horribly violent, and this guy's a pig. I mean, like I said, put him in a cage. Oh, is that a scar? Look at the top of his head right there. Is that a scar, or is just the angle? Oh, maybe it's just an angle. No. What is that?
Right here?
Yeah, a little bit further back. Right above his ear. Do you see that little bald spot right there?
Right here?
Right there. Yeah. Is that a bald spot, or am I making that up?
I think it might be. It might be just the lighting, because it doesn't look bald here.
Yeah, it doesn't either.
But I can see what you're talking about through a couple of the still shots. Right there.
Oh, Johnny, look at that comment. How sweet. Oh, very sweet.
Aww.
That's really kind. Hmm.
Well,
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. Mallory, if you're still here, thank you for popping up too. LFT, I know that you got the whole house issues that are happening, but I know you're here in spirit. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I want this person caught. And just like, how do we figure out more information to get this person to not be out on the loose? And if he does come back to LA, he's very close to me.
Yeah.
And I guess, for me, there's a lot of more criminals in the LA area, so it's not as unnerving, but it's still unnerving to know that somebody who's capable of this crazy, uncaring, violent act is just, here I am, just free to chill. So I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate everybody listening. And I always tell you guys, I know that you have 1,000 other places that you guys could be, and you choose to spend your time with me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and how much I appreciate that you guys care about these cases as much as I care about these cases. So I know that I'm not alone in wanting to figure out why people do this stuff, and then making sure that we keep putting his face out there as much as we can in this, even the small capacity, so that this guy could be found.
I agree.
So, I will be back tomorrow with hopefully the live that I have planned. If not, I'll be back tomorrow with something else. So thank you guys. Thank you, Mike. Once again, I hope that your stepdaughter is doing okay. I hope that she's finding peace and just taking care of herself at this point and staying safe, because obviously this guy's still there. I will see you guys tomorrow. Tia, much love.
Same to you, and thank you.
Go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening.
Joe will. Have a great one. Bye, you guys. Bye.